Hello everyone, I am Nags and we are back for part 4. In the last video we established that Naruto's social isolation wasn't as bad as it was in the original canon. This is partly due to the dam having been broken with Ino and Sakura befriending her behaving a lot more like a normal student and occasionally even excellent student. She's still not getting top scores on any written tests, but rarely does she fail them. At anything else, from shuriken to sparring, she's at least as good as anyone else except for Sasuke. I am now going to give you a fight between Sakura and Naruto that takes place during a end of the year spar. I am not yet telling you which year, to determine which of them scores higher in the evaluation. A fight to see who is top girl, if you will. I will tell you more about the context of this event after it's done. Ino would have already been beaten, barely, by Sakura in a previous match. At Naruto's insistence, the two would have made sure to try and take care of any resentment about that over a cup of Ichiraku ramen. Though Ina would be very conflicted about having been beaten by Sakura, the one who always needed the most protecting up until now. I think this next fight will be difficult for both Naruto and Sakura. They are both very familiar with each other's skills, and so Sakura will know that she'd need to win this fight quickly if she wants to win at all. She can't match Naruto in endurance. Naruto, meanwhile, would know that Sakura still has more finesse and skill than her. If Naruto were to just charge at her from the beginning, Sakura would probably be able to take her out, and both would know this. Naruto might be slightly faster, but not by a lot, and since I think Naruto is kind of small, even for a girl, I'm going to say that Sakura is even a little stronger, though again not by a lot. So Sakura would want a quick match, and Naruto will want to draw it out. Initially she tried to do that by making some distance, and go for a long-range shuriken duel. Sakura would try to use the only tree in the immediate vicinity as cover, while Naruto would jump over the fence to leave the academy ground altogether. Hey, you can't leave, you'll get disqualified. There's no rule saying I can't move beyond this point, right Iruka-sensei? No there isn't, and while allowing this might make this fight drag out for longer than I had planned, I won't punish you for thinking outside the box. Naruto would smile at this. She knew the streets of Konoha better than Sakura, and was sure she could get the drop on her when Sakura followed her. However, Iruka would say, grinning despite himself, this match was getting interesting. There is also no rule saying that Sakura has to follow you, Naruto. You can leave. But if Sakura doesn't follow, I will declare this match a draw. We can't just keep waiting forever. That would wipe the smile off of Naruto's face. If this fight ended in a draw, then the results of the written exam would end up determining who'd get the top girl spot, and she'd lose. Judging by the confident grin on Sakura's face, she knew this too. How much time do we have? I'm giving you an hour. Naruto wouldn't waste any more time and disappeared into the woods behind the academy. Sakura would know better than to follow, but she wouldn't be sure what to do instead. She could simply remain here, out in the open. But if she did that, then Naruto might catch her off guard with a thrown kunai from her blind spot. Alternatively, she could try and find cover, except that the field was very open except for that one tree. It would help with covering her blind spot, but it would also make that blind spot a lot more predictable, meaning Naruto could exploit that to try and sneak up on her. It would still be better than staying still, but Sakura had an even better idea. She could try and spring an ambush of her own. Sakura knew it would be foolish to follow Naruto into the bushes, but what if she tried using the same strategy? Go to some new place where she would know the area and try and set up an ambush. Naruto was the one that needed to come to her, not the other way around. Decision made up, Sakura went back into the academy building and headed towards an area she was sure she knew better than Naruto, the Konoha library. The library wasn't strictly speaking a part of the academy, but it was right next to it, and you could reach it from the academy without ever stepping foot outside. I'm making that up. All we know is that the Konoha library is located somewhere in the center of the village, and I presume that's also where the academy is. In my head, it just makes a lot of sense for those two facilities to be next to one another. Sakura would rush into the building, intent on booby-trapping every single door, only to have to dodge to the side as a large bookcase would fall towards her. Sakura would immediately recognize enemy action and curse herself for a fool. She knew that Naruto must have predicted she'd come here, and now the bookcase blocked her way out. She couldn't move it without turning her back and giving Naruto an opening. So instead she quickly hid behind another bookcase and tried to find her sneaky little friend. Naruto and Sakura would start chasing each other in the library, many times knocking over bookcases in order to force the other out of cover. After 40 minutes of this, Sakura would be breathing heavily, knowing that Naruto probably wasn't even close to being winded. This was exactly the kind of long drawn-out fight they had wanted to avoid. When Iruka would come and warn them that they only had 5 minutes left, Naruto would stop trying to be clever and just straight up charge towards Sakura. With the latter being exhausted, Naruto would be able to avoid any direct hits from her stronger friend and eventually force her to the ground. And the winner is Naruto. Now make the sign of reconciliation. Naruto would help Sakura to her feet. You fought well, she'd say. I still lost, Sakura would respond, not wanting to be cheered up so easily. Damn it, she had wanted to be the best. Cha! I should have known better. Rule number 14. Ishinobi? And Naruto would finish the proverb along with Sakura. Must never do what the enemy expects you to do. I am very proud of both of you, Iruka would say. You especially, Naruto. Both you and Sakura started out right at the bottom of the rankings. Both of you stand here as proof that when you work hard and apply yourself, you will be able to achieve great things. Their sensei's words, more than Naruto's words of conciliation, would manage to make Sakura feel better about the loss. That is, until Iruka would continue to say, of course that doesn't mean you can just get away with making a mess out of Konoha's great library. Both of you will be staying after class to clean this up. Damn it, Naruto! I'm sorry, I planned to get you with that first bookcase. Everything else just sort of happened. And that's the story of how Naruto managed to snatch the spot of top kunoichi in that year. Now what is this year? You see, when I originally thought of this fight, I wanted it to happen during the last year of the academy, to see who wins the top girl spot right at the end. You see, for the longest time, I thought there was this tradition that one team would be made up of the highest scoring boy, the highest scoring girl, and the worst student. I was genuinely astonished that this wasn't canon, but was instead planted in my head by reading a lot of fanfiction. They put the top scoring student with the worst scoring student, but that's all that's established. Given my previous assumption, I had assumed that Sakura, out of all the other female students, was the very best, and that's why she ends up on a team with Sasuke. Yet there are statements by Asuma that suggest that Ino was overall a better student than Sakura. The wiki also says nothing about Sakura being a so-called top girl. Beyond that, I find it hard to believe that after 7 years in the academy and actually being a good student, Naruto would still be on an even level with Ino and Sakura in a spar. At the end of the academy, she might be able to fight both Ino and Sakura at the same time, and it still wouldn't be a fair fight. She still wouldn't be able to beat Sasuke, but she might be able to grab the second best spot, and Sasuke would have to at least try when fighting her. I'd say that at the end of the academy, Sasuke would win 9 out of every 10 spars with her, and in so doing, she might have been able to win even a small amount of his respect. As a side note, I also believe that students wouldn't be allowed to use anything except taijutsu and the academy free: substitution, transformation, and the clone jutsu. I think that such a rule would be implemented to make sure that students wouldn't rely too much on any clan jutsus they might have. This is to make them train and actually improve and not just let their clan abilities carry them. If not, Naruto would probably have a much harder time against characters like Choji and Hinata in the academy. Speaking of the academy jutsus, I'm even going to say she'll manage to learn all 3 standard academy jutsus by graduation. While it tends to be accepted that the reason Naruto couldn't do the normal clone jutsu was that it had a very low chakra requirement, and that combined with Naruto's ginormous reserves, made it impossible for him. Yet, we do see Naruto use the transformation jutsu in the show, and I even recall him using the substitution jutsu later on. That tells me that a low chakra requirement shouldn't prevent Naruto from learning the basic academy clone jutsu. It might be more difficult for her, but it's far from impossible. Now, I previously said that the reason that Naruto did better in the academy was being able to ask Sakura or Ino for help, but that isn't the case in this later stage. I also said that there was some friendly rivalry between the 3, and that would have only grown stronger as time went on and Naruto started to surpass them. They'd stop giving Naruto free advice because frankly they want to beat her just like she wanted to beat them in the past. No, the reason that Naruto is able to learn the basic clone jutsu is because she now pays attention to their sensei's lectures. Some of us in the fandom tend to look down on the more theoretical aspects of the academy education in favor of the more hands-on sparring. But this is still a school that produces child soldiers. There has to be a purpose behind those lectures beyond giving out random bits of trivia. Chakra theory and everything that can go wrong when using a ninjutsu would be something they'd learn. Something the original Naruto didn't learn. I mean, in the second episode, Naruto was calling chakra Katra when talking to Konohamaru. That just to illustrate just how non-existent Naruto's knowledge of chakra was. My interpretation of the original canon was that Naruto practiced the clone jutsu by continuing to simply try harder, which would translate into pouring even more chakra into the jutsu. It doesn't matter how much you try if you keep trying it the wrong way. With Naruto having paid more attention in class, she can troubleshoot where her jutsu is going wrong and correct it. Now let's back up a bit. That last fight between Sakura and Naruto happened at the end of the 3rd academy year, when they are like 8 or 9 years old, and the trio has known each other for 3 years. After this point, something interesting happens. I said that Naruto's isolation wasn't as bad, remember? Well, this might turn that around even further. From this point forward, she is establishing herself as the best kunoichi of their age group, and if Sasuke is anything to go by, there is a correlation between performance in the academy and popularity. I think it's likely that many of the students, the girls especially, who at the start really looked down on Naruto and were responsible for her isolation, now that she is successful, they'd want to be her friend. How would Naruto react to this slow increase in popularity? The ones who previously didn't give her the time of day suddenly acting as if they were best friends. This is complicated, since while this new desire to associate themselves with Naruto is what I'd call shallow, I'm not sure Naruto would be able to tell as much. She is also not the sort to hold a grudge. I think she might just be happy that a lot more people are now pleasant towards her. That's not to say she'd replace Ino or Sakura with any newcomers, but she wouldn't tell of anyone that tries to get close to her. This new popularity is yet another thing that would make Ino, and to a lesser extent Sakura, feel insecure about herself, since this is yet another area where she was previously the best. Yes, their friendship would hold, but it doesn't mean those feelings aren't there, nor that there are no problems that arise. I could see both Ino and Sakura now having a new goal, to match Naruto, similar to how Sakura and Naruto wanted to match Ino. This would be difficult to do, since Naruto does train a bit more than the other two. This is not because of any special drive on Naruto's part, but has everything to do with her natural endurance. She can simply train a lot longer before having to take a break, and so training would be a lot easier for her than for either Ino or Sakura. Hence why I see the difference in ability between them and Naruto only widening as time goes by, despite Ino and Sakura's best efforts. Naruto doesn't lord it over the other two, except the first few times she managed to get the best of them. But that doesn't mean this wouldn't be extremely frustrating for both Sakura and Ino. And with Naruto now being friendly with the other students, those two might feel that Naruto doesn't need them anymore. These are young children and might not have the maturity to talk about these things like reasonable adults. Despite how much Naruto still values her first two friends, this might have been a genuine threat to their bond. The following takes place towards the end of the 4th year in the academy, when they are like 10 years old. I don't understand. Why are you angry with me? We're not angry with you. Then why have you stopped helping me with my homework, Sakura? Oh, do you need to be the best at that too? I could never be better than you when it comes to history or math, Sakura. Oh, I am sure you could do anything if you tried hard enough. Naruto would pause at this statement. Those words felt like they should be a compliment, but somehow, they didn't come over as such. I don't understand. What do you want me to do? Sakura and Ino would find it really hard to stay angry at Naruto when she was like this. Could you help us with our taijutsu? It's a bit frustrating to keep losing to you. Like I kept losing to both of you? That's a long time ago now. For young children of that age, 1 or 2 years would indeed seem like a very long time. And you helped me to get better then, so of course I'll do my best to help. You are helping the other girls as well when they ask you for help. Yes, I'm sorry, I don't know. Do you want me to stop helping them? No, I'm sorry. You are fine as you are. Yeah, we just don't like losing is all. I'm sorry too. And with this, I imagine that slowly but surely, over the next few years, Naruto will end up taking over the leadership role from Ino. I say leadership, but that might be giving the wrong impression. It's more like she is the milestone that the other two are reaching towards, and she is the most respected of the three in the academy. The opinion of most adults hasn't changed that much though, and they are still cautioning their children away from interacting with her. But what is the best way to make a child do something? Forbid them from doing it. The Jinchuriki stigma is still working against her, but her new successes and general friendly demeanor will all work in her favor. This is a slow development that would happen slowly over the next 2 years until the end of the academy when she is 12 and a half years old. And that's where we're going to leave things for now. I hope you'll join me next time for part 5 when the Genin teams will be announced. Thanks for watching and Nikes out.